really wasn't a big deal. If so, what happened? Last year a friend invited me over for a night of casual sex. She noticed how shy I was and really put forth a ton of effort to make me comfortable. I was super nervous and couldn't maintain an erection. She was so sweet about it, but it fucking haunts me daily. 8th grade advanced math teacher has us fill out a get to know you sheet the first day of school. Asked what our pet peeve was. I didn't know what pet peeve meant, so I put cats, as I love cats. Her room was decorated with kitten posters and she was a huge cat lady. She never liked me. I constantly think about the woman at Men's Warehouse that I told was my birthday when I went to go pick up my suit she helped me pick out. When I said it was my 21st birthday, she said if I wasn't working right now, I'd totally buy you a drink, to which I responded haha, yay, thanks, and left. Took me like 3 weeks to realize what a moron I am. When I walked down the aisle at my wedding, I was so nervous and focused on not tripping, that I did not acknowledge my dad. I didn't realize this until I saw the video my aunt had made for me. You can see my dad lean in to give me a kiss on the cheek, but I just keep walking. He kind of shrugs and then goes to sit down. It's been 18 years and this still flashes through my head when I'm trying to fall asleep. Also, that time I was trying to get to the school bus and the sidewalk was icy, so I slipped and fell really hard on my butt. The kids on the bus laughed at me, so I chose to sit there with my head down, wishing I could disappear, while the bus drove away and I walked a mile home. Yes, in the snow, uphill, both ways. 4th grade classroom, we were having a face-off between students on who could name the capital of whichever state our teacher named. I had been on a roll getting a few correct in a row. Then the teacher says Kentucky. With all of the enthusiasm and seriousness in the world, I screamed Frankfurt. Everyone was dying laughing except for me, at the time. Looking back, it cracks me up that I was so upset about it. I do, but I've learned to use moments like that to actively forgive myself for making mistakes. As soon as I start to feel the cringe and the emotional kick to my own ass, I mindfully stop the emotion and replace it with forgiveness for myself. I start to remember the time I told my Hispanic friend that I thought he was of the African race. As soon as I start to kick myself, I say no, you were in the 4th grade and had never even met anyone with African descent. Small town in northern Midwest. You had no reference point and you were assuming simply because he had slightly darker skin tone. All you knew at the time was that he was slightly different to you, you just mislabeled the different. This has helped me to be less neurotic in everyday situations. Back in elementary school, when it was time to go, all the kids would be lined up by the entrance and wait for their parents. Well, I saw my dad's car and went full speed running to it, jumped in, buckled up, ready to go. I look up. And that is not my dad. I had just jumped into the van of someone else's parent and I unbuckled and hurried back to the group trying to hide in shame. I'm 21 now, so this was about 11 to 12 years ago. One time when I was about 7, I was at my local office depot with my sibling and parents trying to find some school supplies. My sibling and I went to the bathroom, and when we came out, we couldn't find our parents. We tried to look for them, but to me, I thought we were lost, so I had the perfect idea of asking the customer services to try and calling our parents on the intercom. And #X200B. Turns out that our parents were literally in the next tile. Sorry mom and dad, but Special Agent Oso doesn't lie. Went swimming with a group of friends as a kid to the local pool. Probably 11. Girl in the friend group jumped on my back while I was underwater. She was just being playful. It freaked me out because I was coming up and already short of breath. But I played it off trying to be cool. An hour later I was describing what happened to my other friend and explained, and then I felt this big fat weight on me and I couldn't breathe. I didn't realize the girl was behind me. She burst into tears, and she ran home crying. I have never felt so small. I remember that moment and still feel terrible 20 years later. I learned in that moment that it's important to choose my words. because I wanted to describe how I felt being underwater and scared, but I didn't have a developed way to articulate it. Because I used those words, she became the object of the story. It became about her fatness, than about my scaredness. I didn't mean to call her fat, but I did. And to any bystander or observer, they would justly see me as a bully. Made fun of a girl because her brother had a coke addiction. I was super drunk and had a crush on this girl, so I have no idea why I did that. Haunts me to think about today. There's one girl I used to be really rude to and I would try to annoy her. I regret that now because we are in the same field and so I see her in professional settings from time to time and I actually have mad respect for her now. I just wish I could tell her why I was rude to her. When we were in high school together, she was friends with my boyfriend at the time. He was not a nice man, not boy, he was an adult and I was a teen, and he often belittled me and often called me a slut. He would also show me messages/emails that this girl would send him about me and was basically her begging him to dump me. I understand now that for her, she was just being a friend to her friend based on whatever he told her about me, and him. He showed me those messages to further isolate me from my peers. I had some mean girl moments growing up that I deeply regret as an adult. This is similar, but different, in that it's a no yes moment. In first grade, we'd just gotten an alphabet rug. Huge, oval, and like 18/7. I always got a stomach bug around Valentine's Day. The rule was, don't throw up on the new rug. Well, I threw up. And it made it clear over the rug, into the hallway. I was crying, because A, vomiting is embarrassing, and B, that shit hurts. Stomach acid should not touch the throat. But, because I didn't break the rules, everyone started cheering for me, because that meant everyone would get a piece of candy the day I get back from mandatory out of school recovery. Half cringe, half victory. One instance I can remember off the top of my head was in middle school. This girl I thought I was friends with came up to me in between classes in the hallway. I thought she was gonna say hi, but she slapped me hard. She went in to say she knows I'm a two-faced bitch, and that my constant happy attitude and smile was creepy and disgusting. I wish I would have done more than just stand there frozen. Turned out, some other girl threw me under the bus for something she herself did. This kind of thing, the screaming and slapping me in the face, happened multiple times throughout school though. I stopped smiling after that. My weed guy came over to my apartment and tried to give me a handshake that involved a fist pound and other not so complicated gestures. I totally fumbled it and he said, "Oh man, just hold up and let's try that again." So we tried again and I fumbled again. He just sighed, sold me some weed, and left. I've never felt so white. I ended up getting a new weed guy because I was so embarrassed. I was in the 4th grade and it was Valentine's Day. I was the new kid in school and this one boy had been picking on me all year. My 10-year-old self was very non-confrontational, so I wrote a paragraph on the back of his Nerd's Valentine explaining that I don't like it when he's mean to me, and I don't understand why he has to be. He couldn't read my handwriting and brought it to the teacher, who made me read it aloud to both of them. I think about that day every day of my life. He even ended up finding me online and contacting me to apologize a few years ago, but all I can think of is the cringe.